You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Thinking is difficult, that's why most people judge. I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become. What you resist, persists. Warmth is the vital element for the growing plant and for the soul of the child. Life calls not for perfection, but for completeness. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. I must also have a dark side if I am to be whole. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. All art intuitively apprehends coming changes in the collective unconsciousness. If a man knows more than others, he becomes lonely. The most important question anyone can ask is, what myth am I living? The psychic depths are nature, and nature is creative life. Synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those who have eyes to see. I would rather be whole than good. Shame is a soul-eating emotion. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. Life is a luminous pause between two mysteries that are yet one. Where wisdom reigns, there is no conflict between thinking and feeling. It all depends on how we look at things, and not how they are in themselves. To ask the right question is already half the solution of a problem. Life really does begin at 40. Up until then, you are just doing research. Everyone you meet knows something you don't know but need to know. Learn from them. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. A mandala is the psychological expression of the totality of the self. We have forgotten the age-old fact that God speaks chiefly through dreams and visions. Normality is a fine ideal for those who have no imagination. Wisdom accepts that all things have two sides. We don't get wounded alone and we don't heal alone. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Embrace your grief, for there, your soul will grow. Free will is the ability to do gladly that which I must do. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. The ability to ask questions is the greatest resource in learning the truth. Conflict exists strictly as an opportunity to raise our consciousness. To be normal is the ultimate aim of the unsuccessful. In all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder a secret order. Dreams are the guiding words of the soul. Often the hands will solve a mystery that the intellect has struggled with in vain. We meet ourselves time and again in 1,000 disguises on the path of life. The greatest tragedy of the family is the unlived lives of the parents. Neurosis is the natural byproduct of pain avoidance. Summoned or not, the God will come. The reason for evil in the world is that people are not able to tell their stories. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. The difference between a good life and a bad life is how well you walk through the fire. The descent into the depths always seems to precede the ascent. In each of us there is another whom we do not know. Hurry is not of the devil, hurry is the devil. But, if you have nothing at all to create, then perhaps you create yourself. Active imagination requires a state of reverie, halfway between sleep and waking. Whatever is rejected from the self appears in the world as an event. The greatest potential for growth and self-realization exists in the second half of life. Shadow work is the path of the heart warrior. All fanaticism is repressed doubt. Real work is completed in silence and strikes a chord in the minds of only a very few. To confront a person with their own shadow is to show them their own light. One must be able to let things happen. Sometimes you have to do something unforgivable just to be able to go on living. Man cannot stand a meaningless life. God enters through the wound. Called or not, God is always there. All true things must change, and only that which changes remains true. Perhaps I myself am the enemy who needs to be loved. The doctor is effective only when he himself is affected. Only the wounded physician heals. Religion is a defense against the experience of God. The world will ask you who you are, and if you don't know, the world will tell you. Had I left those images hidden in the emotions, I might have been torn to pieces by them. If there is a fear of falling, the only safety consists in deliberately jumping. Show me a sane man and I will cure him for you. Knowledge rests not upon truth alone, but upon error also. When an inner situation is not made conscious, it appears outside as fate. All the most powerful ideas in history go back to archetypes. Medicines cure diseases, but only doctors can cure patients. The capacity for inner dialogue is a touchstone for outer objectivity. Nothing affects the life of a child so much as the unlived life of its parent. The foundation of all mental illness is the unwillingness to experience legitimate suffering. The unexpected and the incredible belong in this world. Only then is life whole. Everyone can afford to give away a smile. Our unconscious is the key to our life's pursuits. Man needs difficulties. They are necessary for health. I don't believe there is a God. I know there is a God. Neurosis is always a substitute for legitimate suffering. There is no light without shadow, and no psychic wholeness without imperfection. Nothing worse could happen to one than to be completely understood. The right way to wholeness is made up of fateful detours and wrong turnings. The bigger the crowd, the more negligible the individual. Individualization does not shut one out from the world, but gathers the world to oneself. The unconscious mind of man sees correctly even when conscious reason is blind and impotent. The dream is the small hidden door in the deepest and most intimate sanctum of the soul. Trust that which gives you meaning and accept it as your guide. One finds one's destiny on the path one takes to avoid it. We don't really heal anything, we simply let it go. Simple things are always the most difficult. Where love stops, power begins, and violence and terror. Life is crazy and meaningful at once. The creative mind plays with the object it loves. Find out what a person fears most, and that is where he will develop next.